You're watching Louisiana First News this morning.
Welcome back. The Power Coalition for Equity and Justice is loading up buses of Louisianans and community partners to travel to Washington, D.C. this weekend for the U.S. Supreme Court hearing on Louisiana versus Calais. Joining me now to share more about this is Ashley Shelton, President and CEO of Power Coalition. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. So first off, tell me what's happening this weekend.
Yes, so, we're preparing for the opening arguments that'll be held on Monday, March 24th. And so we have busloads of folks coming from across the state of Louisiana to be in the nation's capital as we, continue to fight this fight for fair and equitable maps here in the state of Louisiana.
Now, what's the big issue that's happening right now? I know we've been seeing a lot about it on the national level with the redistricting, Congressman Cleo Fields, and just people going to D.C. to rally behind what's going on. So talk about more in depth what's happening in our nation's capital right now.
Yes. So, the state of the state of Louisiana and its legislature, were forced by a federal judge to draw fair maps. And so that's how we were able to actually get a second majority minority congressional seat. And then, Calais challenged that map at saying that it was a racial gerrymander. And indeed it was not. This map was created by the Louisiana legislature. There were significant political undertones in its creation. And so for us, it's like the state of Louisiana and its elected leaders actually drew a fair map to represent the fact that more than a third of the state's population is African American. And so therefore, having two majority minority congressional seats, certainly created fair maps. And so we are once again, fighting because the Supreme Court stayed a decision to basically allow the maps that the state drew to move forward. And so we are standing with the state of Louisiana to allow our maps to move forward.
Now, what potential consequences could the Supreme Court's decision have beyond Louisiana?
I think this is a continued conversation about the Voting Rights Act and Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which ensures that, African American voters have the ability and the right to elect candidates of choice. And so we saw this with the Milligan, versus the state of Alabama case in Alabama, and the Supreme Court upheld Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And so we're hopeful that, we will be victorious. We'll have the opening arguments on Monday, and then certainly, wait for the court's decision in June. But we are positive that, again, these are actually maps that the state drew, right, to be in compliance with, a fair map. And so we are hopeful that, the map will stand.
Now, the March 29th election is just days away. So what message do you have for Louisiana voters ahead of this ruling in the upcoming elections? And what steps is the Power Coalition taking to educate our voters on these matters and amendments?
Yes. So, we have just 2 more days of early voting today and tomorrow. I know that, folks will be coming out to the Red Bean Festival that's in downtown Baton Rouge. But we're just asking everyone to come out and vote and to make sure their voices are heard in this election. This is, the March election is typically a much lower turnout election. And we want to ensure that folks understand that there are 4 constitutional amendments on this ballot statewide. And these amendments, change our Constitution. And, we just need to be really thoughtful. And we're asking voters to do their homework on what these amendments say and actually do, and to just make an informed decision when they go to the polls. And so, Power Coalition, is on an issue-based, from an issue perspective, we do not support these amendments. Why are we enshrining in our Constitution? Why are we enshrining these issues in our Constitution when there are already multiple pathways currently already in place through policy. So, again, go to our website, powercoalition.org. There is information there on the amendments, what a vote yes means, what a vote no means, as well as, our reasons for, saying that this wouldn't be good for the state of Louisiana and its people.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ashley. Great information there. And I just want to reiterate, a ruling against the revised map could revert Louisiana back to a single majority black district, potentially diluting the black voting power in our state. Thank you so much for joining me. For more information on what's happening this weekend will be on our website, louisianafirstnews.com. Reggie.